Introduce yourself if you like to and start at the very beginning, how you got into veganism, and then what happened.
So basically, I got into veganism about 5 years ago. I didn't get into it straight away for ethical reasons. I actually got into it because I was having some health problems. I was having some real bad digestive issues. And it was at the same time that I was starting to become aware of certain truths and deceptions in the world. So I was going through quite a weird time. And I didn't really trust doctors at that stage. I'd read all about pharmaceuticals and things like this. So I thought, well, I'll go the natural route. And then obviously you go onto YouTube and you go online and it's full of all these people that heal themselves through plant-based diets, Gerson and the fruitarian and all this. And I just like sucked it up really, from the get-go. And, because of the brainwashing that I've since done a lot of research in through help with you as well, they've been introducing plant-based as the main diet for quite a few decades now with getting rid of butter to replace margarine and, the whole cholesterol lie and, then they've inverted the food pyramid. So plant-based is everywhere when people go online. And so yeah, I changed my diet. I went vegetarian first of all, and straight away I noticed a lot of benefits. My stomach issues kind of really healed up quite quickly. And so I think that initial kind of kickback that I got really gave me confidence in the whole plant-based field. I was very confident in going forward. And on a side note, I'm also quite a passionate activist and raise awareness over a number of issues on my Facebook account. And so I was kind of talking about this quite publicly as well. And then from there, I don't know how, but I just started stumbling on you know, these documentaries about how the animals are treated. I think the first one that I watched was Gary Yourofsky, the greatest video ever seen. You've probably seen it yourself.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching it, and by the end of it, I was like, "That's it. I've got to go vegan." There's no reason. I was already convinced by my health benefits. I don't need meat. So there you go. Off I went. And for a couple of years, I was really kind of like shouting from the rooftops, which I really regret. Which I was saying to you off camera. I was, oh God, I cringe when I think about it now, like how brainwashed I was, and I was really encouraging a lot of people to go vegan, and actually did encourage a lot of people to go vegan. Um, but about 2 years into it, it was weird because I started noticing that it was being pushed everywhere. And, like people like Beyonce were going vegan and all these celebrities, and knowing what's what's behind all of this, it did leave a lot of doubts in my mind, and I was I thought, okay, this is not sitting well with me. All these, puppets for the elite are going vegan. What's going on? What's the agenda? And and at this time, I was still feeling okay. I was still feeling pretty good. So I didn't have any doubts about the actual health side of it, but I just thought, something's not sitting right with me here.
How
All
long
these.
were you vegan at that point?
I was 2 years in at that point,
Mm.
and for those 2 years, I can honestly say I was quite vocal about it. Yeah, and yeah, but after 2 years, I was vegan for total 4 years, but after 2 years, I kind of buttoned my mouth because of what I just said. I saw that it was being pushed left, right, and centre. So I thought, well, I'll still be vegan, but I'll just, sit and watch, see what happens. And and then I thought, well, maybe it's just they want to sell fake meat to people. It's all about selling fake meat. So I thought, well, that's all right. Then people can still be vegan. We can just go on a whole grain plant plant-based diet and avoid all the fake meat, and we'll be fine. And we can all swerve that, and we can still be doing the best for the planet and for the animals and for your health. And honestly, I look back, I was saying to my friend, I look back now and I was like, you're so convinced you're eating the healthiest diet. I used to like pack my plate with greens and just it's really crazy how it gets you. But yeah, so anyway, after 2 years, I was just watching what was going on, and then that was when fast forward about another 2 years, and at the start of last year, I started to have memory problems, and at first I thought it was like some kind of brain tumor or something. It was really bad, and really bad brain fog. And obviously, as a vegan, you look at everything else other than your diet, right? Because it's the last thing that you want to give up. And that's what I would say to people who watch your videos, and vegans that are watching this now. Like, don't rule out the diet. If you're not feeling good, chances are it's probably your diet. So yeah, I started getting really bad memory problems, and I was looking at all different things, what it could be, but I was definitely protecting the diet at this point. And anyway, it just didn't get any better. And then I started getting some real digestive issues, really bad gas, and like things were not flowing right. And it was quite interesting because my partner at the time, she was also getting some really bad health problems. She'd been vegan much longer than me. It was really weird how it coincided at the same time. Her symptoms were completely different to mine. She would get severe anxiety. She couldn't sleep at night, which I've since researched that the symptoms in men are often different from the symptoms in women when you get to end-stage veganism. And interestingly enough, I've researched how, like, because you're not getting the fat, there's nothing to protect the nerves, which causes anxiety in vegans and things like that. So at the same time, we're both not feeling very good, but I'm really not good, to the point where the final straw was, as you know, I was saying off camera, I live in Mexico, and I was taking Spanish lessons. And the Spanish teacher came round one morning, and I woke up in the morning and I had the worst brain fog ever. It was literally like someone had hammered me around the head with a club or something. And so yeah, I sat down with her, and I couldn't even remember English words. I remember the word, I couldn't remember the word for hammock. And I was like, this is really not what, like, I couldn't even remember the English words, let alone the Spanish words. So I was like, no, I need to do something here. I need to start incorporating some eggs. And so I did that. And then that's when I stumbled on your information. And as a side note to this, what's quite ironic in the whole thing, I've also got a YouTube channel which exposes the New Age and all the New Age BS that's out there, so-called gurus and some of the deceptions that people fall into. And so obviously, looking back, veganism also ties into the New Age because it ties into spiritual ego, people wanting to be closer to God and all that nonsense, and how you go from vegetarian to vegan to raw vegan to fruitarian to breatharianism. And my channel is about talking about all this New Age stuff, but I was actually, without knowing and thinking about it, I actually also had got caught up in one of these New Age deceptions, i.e. veganism. Anyway, yeah, so this morning came and went, and I started introducing eggs, and then I found you. I don't know how I found you, but you popped up somewhere. And I'm not telling, I'm no lie, man. I must have spent the whole weekend binge watching all your videos, and it was like I was like, that's it. I've been I've been conned. It's a massive deception, and because I'd already had the seed of doubts, you know, because of the new, like they were pushing it so badly. And I thought that's why they're pushing it, because it's making people deficient. It's a starvation diet, as you call it. And and so anyway, yeah. I mean, fast forwarding from there, I started introducing animal products, and now I'm eating organs and raw eggs, and I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling my memories come back. I think I've still got some work to go. But the hard thing for me was because I'd been so vocal about it for quite a few years. I had a kind of moral decision to make, because I couldn't just after trying to convince so many people to go vegan, I couldn't just hide away and sit in a restaurant in Mexico eating meat on the sly. Didn't feel right to me. I was like, you've got to come out the vegan closet publicly and tell your story, and so basically that's what I did. And I was expecting the backlash, because I know as a vegan how militant they are. So I knew I'd lose friends, and I knew I'd get grief and get battered for it. But it was far, far worse than, I think I told you in the email, like my best friend of 20 years, it was my best friend, basically dumped me because I changed my diet. It's just unbelievable. And the sad thing is, I can see now, like, after watching your work and others, and I can see that the guy he keeps doing all these detoxes, and he's on dry fasting, and it's like, man, you need a steak. And so yeah, it was a really difficult time over the Christmas period, where I literally had to come out of the closet, and I made a video on my own channel, and yeah, so it's not been easy, but it was the right thing to do, and I can sleep at night, and I still feel bad when I think back, because like some people, they may have had children, and like having seen like how some of these vegans are starving their kids now, it plays on my mind. But I can only do things like this, and keep exposing the other side now. And it's really, in a way, it's helped me, because I can really give a balanced argument and a balanced view when I talk about it to vegans, because or they'll tell me I was never vegan, as you know. But yeah, and I also bought this book recently, which is one in your videos, which is The Primal Diet, We Want to Live, Iona's Wonder Planets. This was something you recommended in one of your videos.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen how expensive this book is.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like, I don't know, that was like $50 or something. And that made me think, right, it made me want it even more then, because they've hiked the price up because there's truth in it, right? And so I've just buried my head in that, and God, like, it's unbelievable, like how they've turned this plant-based, how they've inverted this plant-based diet, and so badly away from our natural diet. Another thing, I don't know if you've watched the Oiling of America. I watched that the other day, and that's fantastic as well. They had a recipe book from 100 years ago, and it was all creams, lard, tallow, meat, all those traditional things that we've been told that are really toxic, all the saturated fat. There was hardly any vegetables in our diets, just even 100 years ago. Even with if they did have vegetables, they would make creamy sauces like asparagus sauce and things like that. So yeah, it's been difficult, but I'm enjoying kind of uncovering it all and telling the other side, And I think, it's held me in good stead in the end for having that experience.
This friend of yours, how long has he been vegan?
Um, he was maybe around 3 years. I don't know maybe if I even influenced him to go vegan, but the thing with him is he had pretty bad health problems before, and so you add veganism to that and dry fasting. The guy is he's like the angriest person ever. I
Mm.
mean, he's very, very sick, and I said to him, like, you need to eat animal products. You're sick, all this dry fasting, because he's completely depleting himself, as you know, from the little nutrition that he's got left. And but yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but there you go. What can you do? So yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm just so grateful for the work that you do, and other people out there that are exposing veganism, because it's like a railway train. I mean, it's everyone's getting bombarded with this vegan propaganda. It's everywhere, and people need to speak out about it. And I think ex-vegans are really going to be the spanner in the works for this vegan steam train that's going to take over, or wants to take over.
When you and your partner got those symptoms back then, did you speak out about it or did you keep it a secret? Because a lot of vegans like to hide their health problems so that they don't.
Um,
Yeah.
well, I didn't, because remember, I was vegan 4 years. For the first two, I was vocal about veganism. For the last two, I wasn't promoting
Right.
veganism
Okay.
at all. So at the point that I was ill, I wasn't really talking about veganism
Hmm.
anyway. But I wanted to make sure that obviously it was my diet. And as soon as I realised it was my diet, and obviously I felt better when I started incorporating animal products, then I came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you take any supplements?
I didn't take any supplements, no.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I guess any vegans watching this may think, well, I didn't do it right then, but as we know, they're synthetic and they only mimic the molecule of the nutrient anyway. So whether or
Right.
not that would have,
When it comes to B12, the vegans take the B12 analogs, which just bind with the B12 receptors, so they're even worse off. So technically, you saved yourself. At least you can still absorb real B12 now. The vegans who take the
yeah.
supplements, they can't anymore because the receptors are.
Oh, I never knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, never
Mhm.
knew that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not real
So
B12. Yeah, it's synthetic. It's trying to mimic it, but when you look at any molecules of supplements, they're different, very different
mm,
than real vitamins.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I might have taken B12 once or twice, but I don't know. I don't know. I was just very caught up with all the vegan propaganda, and as you do, and you're so convinced by all these. Because the thing is that I think the thing that really gets people hooked in is they will feel an initial kind of feel good factor with it. But obviously, most people are on a Western diet, aren't they? So they're coming off a Western diet, which is, probably more toxic than anything. So they're going to feel something. And I think it's that initial kickback that kind of convinces people that it is the right thing. But as we know, long term, it's completely the wrong thing. And I'm just glad that I wasn't I mean, I couldn't have sustained it any longer because I just wouldn't have had a memory left.
Mm.
It was ridiculous.
Did you hear from any of the people that went vegan because of you? Did any of them quit or anything?
Yeah, so on my Facebook, literally all I talk about now is anti-veganism. So it's I've been talking about cholesterol. I mean, the cholesterol lie is massive. Like how they've convinced people that they need to have low cholesterol, and then they're giving people statin drugs which does kill them. Um, so I'm just all out, bombarding people with, your information, other ex-vegan testimonials, So I'm trying to make up for lost time, so to speak. And someone said to me that, because I was saying I feel bad, but they said, well, Tony, because you were quite vocal about it, the fact that you're not vegan anymore is going to, also have the same effect the other way. So I'm hoping that I've turned a few already, but there's more people to reach. So I'm trying to do my best to make up for that.
How do you see the future of veganism?
I think it very much depends on ex-vegans speaking out, and I think we are the key that can unlock the door in terms of stopping veganism from, obviously they want to try and tax and ban meat in the future as well. We're literally having to fight for our diet, and I think the way that we're going to win this is through more ex-vegans speaking out and, telling their friends, telling their family members. And unfortunately, it means really going up against a cult, which essentially what vegan is. It's a cult. It's cult mentality. Vegans, obviously, because they are nutritionally starved, are very angry, and there is a backlash that, we sometimes have to face with it. But I think that the more ex-vegans speak out, the more videos that we make, and I think we can be a spanner in the works. But obviously we're up against a massive machine, propaganda machine that's pushing it. But I'm hopeful that it's not gonna go full circle. I'm hopeful that there'll be enough of us that will still want to retain our natural diet and keep that going for generations to come. So what we,
yeah.
So what you're doing and what others are doing, and it's like it's so important. Like we're literally fighting for the generations of future children and grandchildren, and for their species specific diet. It's really vital work, and I'm just glad I'm on the right side now. I thought I was on the right side. I thought I was helping the animals. Vegans only care about chickens, cows and pigs. I see that now. They don't give a damn about the insects, the mammals, the birds that get caught up in monocultures, and they don't get told that, and you bring that to their attention, they're not interested. So yeah, I think a lot of it it will take a lot of them to get sick themselves before they literally bite the bullet. But I think what we're doing as ex-vegans is sowing the seeds to make it okay and easier for them to do it and to give it up. I mean, when I went public, I literally was getting private messages on a daily basis from vegans saying, Tony, I've not been feeling great either, and I've been feeling a bit off for a few weeks or a few months. And we know that vegans lie about how great they feel. We know behind the scenes it's different. You can't convince ex-vegans that you feel great, so you're barking up the wrong tree with that one. So yeah, I think the future is really down to what people like us do and other ex-vegans in terms of saying, hey, this is all BS, and it's not sustainable long term. It's not sustainable long term. As you know, some people can last longer, but eventually it's going to get you in the end.
That sums it up, yeah. Anything else you would like to add? Or?
No, I think that just about covers it. Just, yeah, thanks again for all the work that you do. And yeah, all I'd say to vegans is, look, if you're feeling sick or things are off or your digestion's not great, be honest with yourself, and don't rule out your diet is all I would say to them. Don't be pig-headed enough to rule out your diet until it gets worse and worse, like it did with my memory. I left it. I was not vegan. It's not my diet. And then it just gets so bad that you don't know what damage you do long term. So don't rule out the diet is what my final message would be to vegans.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Tony.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.